All right, there we go. Hey guys, good evening. All right, so I'm just wait a moment that everybody hop on now that I finally have my camera rotated. That would have been funky looking the way it was set up. Hopefully everybody's having a fantastic Monday. And looks like we had somebody jump on. Welcome, welcome. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started with content for tonight. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Tremaine Wells. I normally hide behind the brand Mind Over Money, and so tonight I'm just going to talk a little bit about that brand, how it got started, why this is titled First is the Worst, just to give you guys some more insight as to how I've been thinking and what a lot of people go through when they are launching something. So to let you know who I am, again, Tremaine Wells. I am based in Hampton Roads. Hey, Stephanie, thanks for joining. If you are looking for me, you can find me all over social media. Tremaine Wells, just as it is. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Trying to do a better job of connecting socially, getting the message out about what we are doing to close the wealth gap and really just to stand up as my own brand. I think for a while I spent a lot of time hiding behind Mind Over Money and not embracing all that is who I am and what I stand for. And so part of this broadcast tonight is going to be addressing two things that I am passionate about. One being personal finance, so the money piece, and then leadership and what it means to move people in a forward direction. So the brand Mind Over Money started because I felt like for a little while I was on this paper chase, right? And so the reason I even chose business as a major in college was because I wanted something that was going to make money, right? So neither of my parents went to college. And so I just was like, okay, what thing do I need to do to get money, right? What degree is where I'm going to get paid? And so somebody was like business. So I was like, all right, cool. That's what I'm going to do. And so I think in that instant, it was more about me chasing money as opposed to building wealth. And so now that I have come along and have continued on this journey, what I've learned is that, having the mindset to build wealth is way more important than having the money itself. So welcome, Chelsea. Thanks for joining. And so in 2014, the end of the year, that's where Mind Over Money was born. And that the mind piece was that, you can have all the money in the world, but if you don't have the mindset to keep it and the mindset to continue building wealth, then it doesn't matter what that income is, because you won't ever have a legacy from it. And so Mind Over Money really just is, having the mindset and the tenacity, the strength to change whatever your circumstance is and to forge forward, overcoming whatever obstacles are in your way. And so what I've realized is that even if we do come into money, if we don't change our thinking, if we don't change our old habits, it doesn't matter. That money will come and go. So a lot of it is understanding that you need to appreciate where you are. Hey, Chris, thanks for joining. And really be thankful for the things that you have now so that when you are blessed with more, you can do more with it. So a lot of us like to think that, when I get that new job or when I get that new promotion or when I get a raise or when this thing happens, then I'll change. But the reality is you need to start developing those habits and condition yourself to do what you can with what you have now so that when you do get more, you are responsible and you are a good steward of it. So what a lot of these things boil down to is having the correct mindset. And I think for so long, we haven't had the proper mindset for building wealth. So we get stuck in like this cyclical thing where we're continuously battling old habits, but we're not doing anything to change those things. So I want to talk a little bit about some of those things tonight. And why being first is the worst, right? And so it's tough being the first one to do something, because it's like you're in this foreign territory where there's no path set before you. So you kind of just like throwing stuff at the wall, seeing if it sticks. And if it doesn't stick, it's like, okay, well, who do I talk to about it? And oftentimes we get discouraged, right? And so if you don't have that mental toughness, that mental strength to keep pushing forward, you might find yourself in a situation where you quit. And I think that's where many of us, we fall and we find ourselves in failure, and that we don't continue to keep going. And so a failure isn't a failure unless you quit and you don't keep going. And so over the years, as I've been studying and researching, what I'm learning is that anybody who's ever been successful has failed. And more often than not, they fail multiple times because they learn from their mistakes. They repeat the process, learn from that, fail again, but they keep going, they keep trying. They don't let those setbacks discourage them. And a lot of that is due in large part to believing in themselves, that they're going to eventually, you know, follow through on whatever the thing is they set to do, and understanding that you learn from making mistakes instead of settling in what we are accustomed to, what we're used to, even though it might not be a space of satisfaction or, you know, where we want to be. And so that's where I want to talk about, you know, like money in this leadership piece. So really to talk about the leadership part. It's difficult being the first because oftentimes you lack the support. And I have been able to find like connections to this in so many different places. Just recently, I was at a cheerleading competition, and there was a team there that was rebuilding its program, and there wasn't a lot of support. But there was another team that had like lots of fans in the stands, and you could tell like the energy was there. And that's what I feel like we experience a lot. You have a lot of people who are quick to jump on something that has a huge fan base, where, you know, they have proven success. Kind of like when you think about like basketball teams, right? Everybody wants to be like a Golden State fan. But like back when they weren't good, you didn't hear a lot of people bragging about it. And so like, that's when I think about like when people say stuff like, well, you know, you wasn't with me shooting in the gym. But like now that you've reached a point of superstardom where other people can vouch for your success, now people want to jump on. But it's like, well, where were you when I was just starting this journey? I was just starting out. And I think for a lot of us, that's a difficulty we face when we are trying to change our financial situation, right? We get a lot of pushback from family and friends that are like, well, you know, well, why can't you do this thing? Or when you don't have time to hang out anymore because maybe you picked up a second job, or maybe you're trying to build a business, produce some additional income streams, and you don't buy presents for people like you used to anymore because you're doing different things with your money. You know, we get a lot of pushback. And if we aren't confident and strong enough in the reasons why we're doing it, we can let all that pushback and negativity deter us from our course, right? Because we don't have that support. We don't have that fan base that is with us in the beginning, encouraging us and pushing us to keep going forward. And so, you know, that loneliness sets in, you know, well, nobody's with me. That doubt sets in. Can I even do this? And that's where, like, you have to have this leadership within yourself where, like, even if nobody else here supports you, you support you. And so I think, you know, that's where I've gotten to this place now. Like, this is something I firmly believe in, and something I stand for. So even if there is nobody else who believes in closing the wealth gap like I do, this has to be something that I am willing to stand for when nobody else is going to stand with me. And so until you get to that point in whatever type of journey you're on, you develop that leadership in yourself. It doesn't matter what goal you're trying to achieve, because you'll quit every time. Your belief and your faith in yourself isn't strong enough. So you're relying on that fan base, that support from the outside to keep you going. And if we rely on other people, men fail us. And so you have to have that enough strength inside of yourself to keep pushing through, keep pressing through, even though you experience setbacks. And I think especially for us who have, you know, long history of poor relationship with money, we experience setbacks often because we're trying to break stuff that is so deeply ingrained in us, you know, like not having an emergency fund, and I gotta go do this thing with this group of people because that's what everybody's doing and that's what's cool. And like, until you set it in yourself that, you know, the goal I'm trying to reach is more important than this immediate gratification or satisfaction, you're never going to achieve the goals you want. And so, that's what I'm saying. Like, being the first person, especially the first in your circle, can be extremely lonely. And it can feel like the worst thing ever because you don't have anybody riding with you. So until then, until you find that one person that's going to go with you, leverage the support of people who can be accountability partners from a distance, that will encourage you, that will motivate you, that will inspire you to continue pressing forward, right? And keep track of your small wins, right? So yes, it can be lonely being the first to do it, but it doesn't have to be the worst circumstance. And so something that I also read today was talking about Apple and how back in 1996, you know, people were talking about how Apple was this failing company and how, you know, they just had all this stuff going wrong with them. And now you look at Apple today, they're the first $1 trillion company. And back in 1996, the reports were saying they weren't gonna be a big name in America anymore. And, you know, had Apple not made that shift and had that leadership to really change the trajectory of where the path was going, they wouldn't be the company that they are. And I think that we, as we're on these journeys, we need to decide, like, okay, it doesn't matter if everybody doesn't see the vision. Like, you see it in yourself. Even with Facebook, and I was reading an article too about how Mark Zuckerberg invited 5 friends to his dorm room and only 2 showed up and decided to become partners with him. And now because those 2 people believed in the vision, they're billionaires, right? So we have to not harp on so much the people that don't show up and, you know, get on board with our vision. What about the people who are there, right? You are there for you, right? So that's all you need is the people who are there, the people that do believe that you can achieve whatever goals you set forth. We don't have to worry so much about the people that are not on our bandwagon right now, right? So you think back to the people who didn't accept his offer. They're probably kicking themselves in the butt. And so it is what it is, but in that instant, you know, you might feel hurt a little bit that people don't support you, but you can't let that deter you from whatever goal you're trying to reach. So just my motivation for you guys tonight. Few things coming up. We have, well, I'm speaking at an event called Know Your Worth. It is on Thursday, 7 p.m. It's at the Kickstart Art Gallery in Norfolk. Again, that's Thursday, the 25th this week, from 7 to 9 p.m. It is completely free. I just ask that you go ahead and RSVP so we make sure we have enough refreshments for the folks that show up. Again, the title of this event is called Know Your Worth. We're going to be diving into talking about, you know, how much your time is worth, and really understanding what we need to do to live the lives that we want and to honestly capitalize on our time. I think a lot of us spend a lot of time watching other people live their dreams instead of building our own. And so we'll be talking about that at that event on Thursday. So hopefully you got something good from tonight's information. We were talking about first being the worst. So I just encourage you guys to keep pushing and pressing forward and understanding that even if nobody else has you, you have to have you, right? It can be lonely being the first person to do anything coming out of your circle. But as you continue to step out of your comfort zone, you enhance your circle to people who might be more willing to press forward with you. Not that you drop all of your friends. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that as you continue to grow yourself, as you continue to stretch your vision, you'll find people who are in alignment with what you're trying to do that will support your vision and support you reaching whatever goals you set for yourself. But that just takes you being a leader and understanding how to move and maneuver, that you don't always have to stay in your comfort zone. The magic happens, and I know you guys have seen these memes, that the magic happens outside of your comfort zone, right? And it's like the more you stay outside of your comfort zone, the more magic that will happen. You just have to continue to believe in whatever vision you have set forth for yourself. So that is my closing remark for tonight. Thank you guys for hopping on. And if you are watching this, thank you for visiting my YouTube channel. So awesome, guys. If you haven't already subscribed, click that subscribe button. All right. Have a good evening.